can see your screen and the record is ongoing, so please, Colin.
Great. All right. So, Sebastian, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure for me and an honor. So, my name's Colin Vella. I'm a resident of Malta. I'm actually Maltese nationality as well. So, I was born and raised there now for half a century, I'd say. Um, my profession, I'm also a software developer. Currently, I work in a night gaming company, so online betting on front end side of things. So I have a family, have a wife, one daughter now, 17 years old. Let me just dive into what my project is. So my project is a software project as well. It's a game that I'm working on called Hyper Runner. So it's basically a racing game, which is sci-fi themed, and it's for the Commodore Amiga. It's actually not just me, but there's a team behind it. We call ourselves the Raster Wizards. The so like the most permanent members would be me and Tenshu, who's a graphic designer. He's actually uh, he works in a large gaming company in Montreal, in Canada. Um, so just to speak a bit first of all about what we've done so far. So the way Raster Wizard started was I was actually contacted by Tenshu, so he had these mock-ups for an enhancement of the game Barbarian. And he was looking for a coder basically, and he contacted me and he asked me if I was interested. I think it was around 2018, maybe a bit before. Um, and I agreed. So we worked on this game. It was actually a fan game, so it wasn't commercial. We released it for free. We did some enhancements to the original game, so more arenas, more colors, better graphics, and we also had some mini bosses, like you can see there on the screen on the left, top left. We actually took a sprite from Barbarian 2, and we used it as a mini boss. So around halfway through the campaign. The game also supports one-to-one, I mean, two players, so you can choose any character on any arena, and there's also more variety with the characters. So there was a male, a female, a lizard. I think there was another one. Right now, I can't remember. We also created a template for a box in case the people wanted to create their own physical boxes and stickers. So there's like a small screenshot there hanging on the bottom right of the picture. After that, I was contacted by Jeremy Marcin of Retro Redrum. So he was also running a games publishing company called Double Sided Games. So after we were releasing this, he contacted me and asked me if I was interested. So he contacted me and Tenshu as well, and we agreed to go with this project. Um, he did some really amazing work with the graphics, just as he did with Barbarian Plus, and and obviously this came out as a physical release, so we had a box for it, a printed manual. We also had like the 20-sided dice that's used in like the Dungeons and Dragons games, a compass, and a couple of stickers in the box as well. After that, I worked, so we got the label Raster Results for this, but it was basically myself, and I was working with Paolo D'Urso from Dark Age, and we created this text adventure game. It was actually sponsored by a guy called Carlo Pastore, so he actually commissioned us to work on this. Then there was also a game where only Tenshu was involved. He actually worked with McGeezer of Geezer Games. It was Devil's Temple, really amazing game, really good. So well done to both McGeezer and Tenshu on this one. And then another project that I've started and we haven't finished it yet is Super Metal Hero. It's in the bottom right. it's quite sorry, bottom left. It's quite an ambitious project because it is a platform game. It also has some shoot 'em up sequences in it. So really large game. So lots of sprites and different AI implementations there. It's a lot of work. Then next you see the game that I'm going to talk about, Hyper Runner. So I won't dwell on this one. I had also released last year a free game that was also had the source code published as well. So it's in an open repository, public code repository, and it's called CBuild, Halloween Defender. And it's actually like a Defender game with the Halloween theme. And finally, another project that Russell Wizards is involved in, it's on Tenshu's side. This is actually a game being developed for the NES called Cyber Rogue. So it's like a Metroidvania style of game. And he's working with another guy, I forget the name right now, but he's quite an expert on NES Maker tool. So they're working on this together. Okay, so moving on. So what was the inspiration for Hyper Runner? So basically, one of them was literally a personal wish to create a racing game. So, a classic style racing game. So I never worked on such a game before. And I wanted a break from the other massive undertaking, which was Super Metal Hero. So I switched on this, started with a proof of concept for it, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. So yeah, so the ideas that I went with this was that it would be sci-fi themed, and the reason is that there aren't many racing games that are, sci-fi themed on the Amiga. So mostly it's like games based in contemporary time, like the Lotus series XJ220, Chase HQ, that kind of game. And I also wanted to target the AGA chipset. And the reason was I wanted to explore the possibilities of this chipset, since obviously it's more powerful than, OCS and DCS. And also because I feel that, this chipset, the 1200 and the higher spec machines were never really quite exploited. The full potential for them was never reached. I'm not claiming that I'm going to reach it because, I mean, for starters, I'm doing this with a basic, with a Blitz too. So obviously I cannot push the hardware to its limits. I'm not doing this with assembler, but still, I think it can yield some impressive results just through the AGA chipset, even though it's basic. So I started with pitching the idea, within the team. So as I said, I coded a proof of concept with some placeholder graphics and programmer art. So it doesn't look very nice, actually. I showed this proof of concept to Tenshu, and he was like on board with it. And he created some really amazing graphics in the span of a few weeks. And then we onboarded Mike Richmond, who actually did the music for the Shadows of Sergot, to create the music for the game. This is what the proof of concept looks like. So I got some graphics from other games, or I did my own. You can see like from the ugliness, but I mean, in principle, as you can see, like I was focusing mainly on the implementation of the road, how to do the bands, how to do the animation, how to do the road markings, and all that. And in fact, this for me was justification to go for this project. So we had an early demo of this. So I had the opportunity to attend Passione Amiga Day, March edition in 2023 in Italy. So this was organized by Paolo D'Urso of Dark Age. I had the honor and privilege of meeting Alistair Brimble there, so who was visiting as well. So I got to know him, and at some point he offered actually a title music from an unused game, racing project, and that was really like I never expected it. So that was for me, it's like a dream come true, to work with like a music legend like him. Me being a nobody basically, so I was just this kid, who started with an Amiga and was obsessed with programming, and I had this opportunity. So for me, it was quite Amazing. So here you can see like the left pictures. It's quite funny because we wanted to set up a projector there. We didn't have a proper screen, and the guys at the place we were staying at, this like winery, they brought this white sheet, and we used that for the projector screen. There, by the way, that's myself. I'm demoing the Super Metal Hero there. I couldn't find a picture of myself with Alistair, so I had to make do with another picture there, with another guy, a very fantastic guy called Gabriele Ferri. And there you can see on the right, we're enjoying some wine there and some nibbles. So the timeline for this, how is the progress going? So the productivity for this is uneven. I think there's a common theme with everyone here. So either due to switching to the other project, Super Metal Hero, or to do, life getting in the way. And sometimes even motivation, sometimes I was simply too tired to work. There would be periods of time, like weeks, or sometimes even a couple of months where I wasn't really working much. What I'm hoping, however, is to have at least a digital version for this, for Amiga 40 in Germany. So I'm planning to visit there. I have a table, and I'll be demoing, this game and maybe the other works in progress while I'm there. A note on my development environment. So I actually work on an emulated Amiga on a Windows 11 laptop. So I configured it on a 68040 with 2 megabyte chip render. I have hard drives mapped to Windows folders. So, transferring data is very easy. There's just a question of copying files into and out of those folders using Windows Explorer. On the Amiga side, I'm using Blitz Basic 2. Actually, I'm a Blitz 2. And I use Personal Paint 7 for editing, although like the initial graphics there, they come through as, PNGs or GIFs done by Tenshu. So I would import them, maybe remap the colors, and do that kind of thing. Sometimes I tweak the graphics a little bit to align more to, 16-bit, 16 pixel width due to the 16-bit nature of Amiga graphics. On the Windows side, then I use tools like Paint.net and Audacity for sound processing. So when I want to import sounds, reduce sampling rate, convert to a format that I can read into the game, and so on. In terms of gameplay, so the idea is it's a time-based racer game, a bit like Outrun, where you're racing against the clock, basically, or Lotus. It has 5 stages, but at each stage you can go, you can choose a left or right route. So in reality, there are 15 routes in total, so 15 different levels. There's a choice of 5 vehicles and 12 pilots, and every vehicle and every pilot have their own characteristics. So they all contribute to a maximum speed, to the acceleration, to the stability, that is, how easy it is to turn and bend, and also to the body. So they contribute to the resistance of the vehicle when you're hitting things. And so there's a screenshot there on the right where you can see these slots there under max speed, acceleration. There's like these bright red and this slightly faded red boxes. So the bright red would be the contribution of the vehicle, where the faded red boxes would be the contribution of the pilot. So yeah, you have these 12 times 5, so 60 possible combinations where you can choose these statistics, whether you want to focus on having maximum speed but a very weak body, or vice versa, depending on your play style and the challenge you want to take. And the controls are fairly straightforward, so just acceleration, brake, turning. You also have a power boost, which it's limited, so there's like this gauge, like a fuel gauge for it. So you would have to use it judiciously. And then there's also obstacles, in the form of traffic. So there will be other vehicles going as fast as you, maybe sometimes faster or slower. And then there's also, roadside objects like trees or signs or boulders or buildings on the side, and also sometimes objects on the track. So these could be things that could slow you down, like, I don't know, hedges or sand dunes or snow, or it could be like, I don't know, mines, landmines, or radioactive barrels, just to make it a little bit more dramatic and fun. And there's also some power-ups like to restore the hull integrity. So if you get damage along the way, you can like pick up these, and the your health sort of will be improved. You can also get boost top up. So right now this power boost can increment slowly over time, so it charges slowly. But you can also get these quick boosts to boost it up a bit uh, quicker. And you can also get these extra time boosts. You can see one there in this slide where you can get some extra time in a few seconds. Okay. So in terms of the implementation, so the game basically uses a dual playfield mode, which on the AGA chipset it supports 16 colors per layer, although there's actually one color that is the transparent value. So in reality, you have mostly 15 colors. Um, the the bends and the atmospheric effects, they were done by altering the back layer display offset. So using a trick where you can shift each scan line left and right, you can like simulate bending of the road. And because the bobs, the other entities like the vehicles and roadside objects, they are done on the front layer, they're not affected by this bending. And then I also use the coprocessor of the Amiga to introduce more colors there and also create texture, and also implement forward motion by moving this texture. And then there's like the player's vehicle itself is actually a hardware sprite, and the advantage of this is that I can render it without affecting the backgrounds, as well as there's no impact on the blitter. You don't need to use the blitter for this. You just leave it for the other entities, and also it does not affect the backgrounds. Just to show this a little bit, I'll go with the implementation first, just a note on the title screen. So the way I did this is I actually have an animation in the form of 16 frames, which I show one after the other. So it looks like something like this. But clearly, for now, it looks odd because they're not moving at all. So for the motion, I actually use color cycling. So there are gradients for the road markings, for those red and white bands at the edge, and for the ground there. And with color cycling, you can see that it takes like you get a sense of motion there. So I was quite happy with how this title screen turned out. Now on to the implementation. This is the core aspect of the game, so how the track was implemented. So first of all, the background part is constructed from two parts. So there's like the sky and the horizon part and the track. And then what I do is I start applying a color gradient there with the coprocessor. So you can start seeing here that those 16 colors now will suddenly become a lot more. So here you can think of that green there as being like a green screen, literally, and I'm shading there the colors with the coprocessor. Then I do the same thing for the asphalt, for the gray part of the road and some parts of the mountains there. And you can see here that the road now has a gradient on it as well. And also you may notice some colors have started to improve, for example, on those clouds and some parts of the mountain there, those gray patches are gone. And then next, I do something similar. I apply also a gradient on the lines there, on the markings. So you can see here like these shades in place here, so you can simulate, haze and so on, and lighting. And then I start to do some interesting things there. So on the asphalt and the ground, I apply like this striped pattern. So I use like a perspective mapping there. So to create these stripes. So these stripes, they aren't all the same width. They just get thinner and thinner as they go further. So through this perspective lookup table, I can create this. And I also, to create the road markings, basically, I mix the two shades for the asphalt and the lines. So when there's the dark part of the stripe here, I basically, instead of the white, if I can call it white of the lines, I use the gray of the asphalt. And like this, I create these striped road markings there. And then, as I said, for the bending, I apply a display offset. So again, through the coprocessor, you basically tell the raster where to start scanning, if you start before or afterwards. And through this, you can create the effect of bending the screen. It's actually sharing the image, but it works quite well for this type of game to create the illusion of that you're bending, that the road is turning, actually. Okay, so that's how the background part is done. Now the entities, as you may know, the Amiga has no hardware scaling, but I needed to have these, objects coming towards you, growing, to the concept of foreshortening as they get closer to you. So what I did is all the graphics are drawn in their full size, but then I have a program to pre-scale them down. So I create, for example, for the static objects, I create like these 16 versions of them. And similarly, I do the same thing for moving entities, but here I go in a little bit more detail. The reason is that the static things like trees and buildings, they are flying by as you're driving at high speed. So you don't really need to see them. Like you don't see them static; they're usually just passing by very quickly. But other vehicles, since they might be going around your same speed and you might be trying to catch up, you'll see them coming, close to you relatively slowly in terms of relative velocity. So for these, actually, in order to make them look a little bit more solid, sorry, hit the wrong one. Each one has like different variations at different angles here. So you can see them a bit from the side, a little bit more on the left and on the right. So there's like 7 variations, and then obviously I need to scale these down to have the effect of them getting into the distance or coming towards. And for these, there's 64 versions. So every entity that you will see in the game has actually either 16 if they are static or 64 if they're like a vehicle like this. So there's quite a few bobs stored, in memory at the moment. It's like several hundreds. Now, to explain how everything is composited together. So this is the background layer, um, which has basically the road, the ground, and the sky, and so on. And then the foreground layer in the dual playfield mode is used to render all the other entities as well as the HUD, the display at the top there. So the display has like system status, the energy. So the green is actually the health, and the boost is the orange one. There's the time there, the time counter going down, and the score that goes up as you're going, progressing through the race. And there's also the speed indicator then to give an indication of how fast you're going. And then finally, we can look at it as another layer is the player sprite. So this is the hardware sprite. There's the benefit that it can be allocated its own set of colors. So there you have, so basically 16 index colors for the background, which actually through the coprocessor shading, it's increased to over 600 colors there. Then there's the like 16 colors or rather 15 colors of the foreground layer, and also the sprite having another 16 colors. So overall, the net effect is quite a colorful game. Finally, I'll switch to a demo here. I'll have to switch off. I don't think I'll be able to speak because I'll have to capture the audio when I share. But I hope the game will literally speak for itself. So I think I need to stop sharing and start sharing again.
3, 2, 1, go. Extra time. Hull repair. Turbo boost. Extra time. Hull repair. Turbo boost. Hull repair. Hull repair. Extra time. Hull repair. Checkpoint. Extra time. Three, two, one, go. Hull repair. Three, two, one, go. Three, two, one, go.
If you can hear me, Colin, maybe that's enough demo because we are extending the time. I think we don't need to see all the levels.
One, go.
The list is nice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, in fact, I tried to, just rush through the levels. I did not complete them. I was just skipping them just to give a quick taste of what it looks like. So I hope I haven't taken too much time. I think that's it from my end. I want to thank you, by the way. I don't know if you have anyone has questions that they want to ask about this, maybe.
Let me check in the chat. I don't see anything, but if someone has something, some question, just unmute yourself. Maybe just very quickly. So you had this wizard. Do you have? Is there a page for that? Or
Yes, we have a Facebook page and also have a YouTube channel. Perhaps I can share those in the chat.
yes, please. Yes. I think that would be nice. And then you mentioned, okay, you want to have some at least a digital release by the time of Amiga 40. So you need to speed up.
Yeah,
That will be used tomorrow.
I mean, it's mostly done, I would say. There's some ending screens that I have yet to do, polishing, but I should be good.
Yeah, we can see that it's written by professional game makers. You know, it's really nice. I see comment. Excellent work from Chris. A huge project from Thomas. So yeah, many thanks. And then how will that be released? And only so you said digital version. So I guess there will be some box as well or something. Or...
Yeah, I'm hoping to have like a box release. It's been such a long time, actually, that I don't know who will go with, to be honest. Um, I think at some point for this one, we're considering going with Geezer Games, since at the time Tenshu was working with him on Devil's Temple, but I'm not sure if he's still doing this. So it's still an open question, actually.
Okay, we'll see by then. Maybe by Amiga 40, then we'll see what is the status. Many thanks again. I don't see more questions. I will stop the recording now.